Throughout this series, we've talked a lot about when to make money moves. But just as important is knowing when not to make money moves. Astrology gives us clear red flags for financial decisions, those cosmic caution signs that say pause, breathe, and wait. Today we're breaking down the biggest astrological red flags for money moves so you can avoid unnecessary setbacks and act in divine timing. So if you want to know more, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If you're new around here, hi, hello, and welcome. My name is Mel. I'm a professional astrologer and sound therapist, and I'm the founder of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if you're new, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So today's video is quite an important one because, like I said in the intro, I've talked all about when to make money moves, but what about when not to make money moves? When is it not the right time? Okay. And of course, astrology has the answer to that and much more. All right. So we'll be talking about some astrological events that equate to not the right time to make financial moves. All right. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So of course, to begin, I want you to think about and meditate on this core idea. All right. So certain astrological events, such as transits or even retrogrades, can cloud judgment, create confusion, or even block results. Recognizing what these astrological events are helps you work with the energy instead of forcing outcomes. And if you are brand spanking new, as if this is your first video, you will come to understand that everything about astrology is against forcing. It's all about flowing. So when you understand what these astrological events are, then you'll know that it's time to kind of sit things out or even take several seats. All right, so I'm going to mention 5 red flags, aka 5 astrological events that you should watch out for to know when to not make certain money moves. All right, so red flag number 1. Our favorite Mercury retrograde. When Mercury is retrograde, there's a lot of mental fog, there's a lot of communication. So during that time, right, in terms of money moves that you shouldn't be making, you'll want to avoid signing contracts, you'll want to avoid launching offers, or even making major purchases unless it is absolutely necessary, all right? If you must make some moves, because we live in a world that doesn't give 2 fucks about nature, right? Review everything twice or even 3 times. However, using Mercury retrograde for reviewing budgets, renegotiating terms, or revisiting old ideas is always a good look, all right? One of the things that can be particularly frustrating during Mercury retrograde is buying electronics. So things like laptops, printers, phones even. You may find that they break down more easily. You may have to return them very quickly, or there's some sort of glitch concerning electronics, especially when you buy them during Mercury retrograde. All right. Now, again, we live in a world where sometimes you have to. I would say if you have to make a major purchase, be prepared for them to be perhaps non-functioning or not functioning well. If you have to make any sort of major moves, like I said before, not only do you want to check things twice or 3 times, always consult a professional. So if you have to sign a contract, consult an attorney. If you have to do anything else, you want to consult a financial advisor or someone who's a professional who could help you navigate the ins and outs and help you see the details that Mercury retrograde is likely having you overlook. All right. So word to the wise, always consult a professional when making money moves during a Mercury retrograde. So next, along the same lines, is red flag number 2, which is Venus retrograde, okay? During this time, there could be a lot of emotional spending. It's also a great time for value reassessment. But most importantly, it is not the time for aesthetic purchases, new business partnerships, or money moves tied to pleasure, luxury, or relationships. Okay. However, it is the perfect time for reevaluating what feels worth it to you and redefining your relationship with money and self-worth. Venus retrograde can have your spending all out of whack. And one of the things I've noticed when Venus is retrograde, especially if you are buying new clothes, if you're taking a different direction with your aesthetic or with your look, it may not turn out the way that you want to. I always tell people, like, try not to get a haircut, try not to dye your hair when Venus is retrograde, because it's not going to come out at all how you pictured it. I know you've seen those posts where it's like what I ordered or what I wanted versus what I got, and it could look real jacked up, right? That is Venus retrograde. However, it is a good time to reestablish your relationship with money and self-worth. Self-worth and your ability and potential to make money go hand in hand, and that's what Venus represents. And so when you use the retrograde to redefine that, reestablish that in healthier ways, when Venus does go direct and it is time to make certain money moves, you're doing it from a place of wholeness and with a better reestablished relationship with money, rather than being overly emotional or impulsive when it comes to your spending. Red flag number 3, Neptune transits. Okay, Neptune is the planet of illusion. It's the planet of deception, right? It's also the planet of unrealistic expectations. This is a time when you need to be cautious of things that are too good to be true, especially money-making schemes, investments. It could also be a time when you're over idealizing business partners or ignoring the fine print. Neptune is great for wearing rose-colored glasses and beer goggles, okay? And this is actually something I experienced very much when I was actively practicing as an attorney. When people are getting into contracts, especially with like business partners and stuff like that, oh, everybody's got their rose-colored glasses on. Everybody wants to make money. This opportunity is the opportunity of the century. And then as time goes on, those rose-colored glasses and those beer goggles come off, and you start to see the reality of the situation, and it's not so pretty. So when Neptune is pinging a certain point in your natal chart, a certain planet in your natal chart, you're not necessarily seeing things as they are. You're more likely seeing them as you want them to be. It's also the time when a lot of people pay no attention and give no fucks to details. Neptune is big picture. It's the dream, it's the fantasy, it's the movie, right? Who cares about the details? But it's the details that can ensure longevity. So whenever there's a Neptune transit, it's not the best time to sign on the dotted line. It's not the best time to partner up, because you're not seeing things as they are. Again, you're seeing them as you would want them to be. Now, to combat this, especially if you have to make a decision during a Neptune transit, you want to ground big dreams with data, structure, and most importantly, reality, okay? Business partners, and I'm sorry, if you see me scratching my nose a lot, whenever I am teaching, whenever I am disseminating this information, my nose invariably always itches. It's like someone is holding a feather under my nose. So excuse that. But in any event, if you must do something during a Neptune transit, you want to couple it with structure. You want to think big, but also think realistically. That's the best way to navigate a potentially very weird or perhaps very ungrounded time. All right. Next, red flag number 4, Saturn hard aspects. All right. And if you need a refresher on aspects, I have some resources in the description box below. But when I'm talking about Saturn hard aspects, I'm talking about Saturn making either a conjunction, an opposition, or a square to any point or planet in your natal chart. Now, during these times, expect delays and tests of discipline. Saturn slows things down to test commitment and structure. Now, I use the word test because that's what it feels like, but understand the universe is never testing you. The universe is always building character. So when you say you want something, when you say you want to have something, the universe is like, I bet. I am here to make all of that happen for you. However, I need to understand how committed you actually are. Okay. And so that's when Saturn transits come in. So they help build character. They help you understand what it really means to be committed and what it means to put together a solid structure. Financial progress may feel blocked, but patience here builds lasting results. Instead of pushing forward, strengthen systems and boundaries. All right. So, whenever you're experiencing a harsh Saturn transit, right? It's one of those times where you have to slow down. And that's why I included it as one of these red flags. It's not necessarily that you have to completely stop and not make any financial moves at all. It's more so, what kind of moves are you making? And are you willing to push past adversity and difficulty? All right. That's sort of how Saturn transits work in building character and strengthening the commitment that you initially made. And finally, red flag number 5, and keep in mind, this list isn't exhaustive. Like, there's so many different kinds of red flags, but these are just the 5 main ones, I'd like to say. Eclipses. Okay, if you've watched any of my eclipse videos, I even did an eclipse video within this series. It's the time where we relinquish control and where we let the universe drive the wheel. Okay, but during eclipses, there could be a lot of emotional decisions made under pressure, feeling like you're forced to doing something, things being kind of chaotic. So this is why I included it in this list, because it's definitely a time where you don't necessarily want to be making any money moves. All right. Eclipse season is about revelation, not initiation. So again, this is the time where we relinquish control. So it's a time where we don't necessarily initiate everything or anything, I should say, but it's more so a time where we observe and we allow the universe to really blow our mind. All right. So avoid impulsive financial changes during eclipse weeks. Eclipse weeks, yes. Let events settle before deciding how to respond. All right. So again, if you want to know more about eclipses and how they affect your financial story, I'll leave the link to that video in the description box below. Now, of course, I had to include a pro tip. So the key isn't fear, it's flow. When you know the red flags, you can pivot your energy toward reflection, strategy, and refinement instead of being reactive. Okay, so it's all about when you know better, you do better. And when you can act from a place of flow instead of reaction, you're already ahead of the curve. So now let's get into some quick integration tips and why this even matters. First, not every slow season is a failure. Sometimes it's divine redirection. And this is something that even I have to remind myself of every so often. We live in a society that demonizes rest. Of course, it's all about hustle, it's all about grind, it's all those things. And it's like, if you're not doing anything, then you're not about anything, right? So much of that is hammered into our psyches on a regular basis. But if you know that it's not the right time to take action, or if it's a slow season, don't beat yourself up and throw your hands up and say, this isn't working. Maybe you're being redirected. Or perhaps it's a time of rest. Rest is very much a part of productivity. So if you're experiencing a slow season, if you're experiencing a time of rest, if you're experiencing a time where maybe you feel like you're fighting against the tide, or you feel like things are not working out, maybe it's the universe's way of getting you in a cycle of rest for productivity, or it could be redirection. Either or, it's not failure by any means necessary. Okay. Next, astrology helps you identify those pause points so you can work smarter and protect your energy and money. Okay, working smarter, not harder, is always a good look, and astrology point blank period helps you do that. When you honor cosmic timing, you stop forcing alignment and start flowing with it. I mean, I know I sound like a broken record at this point when it comes to that, but over here, we do not force, we flow. Inside my signature natal chart experience, the blueprint, I help you identify the best and worst timing for your personal financial decisions based on your unique chart. All right. So if you're unfamiliar with what the blueprint is, it's beyond a regular natal chart reading. You not only get a 60-minute live reading, but you also get a private client portal where you'll get access to other resources, and you will get a uniquely created and personalized 30-day money map, so that post reading over that next month, you know exactly what is happening that can affect your financial story, and more importantly, what action to take. All right. And so perhaps you have, depending on whenever you book this reading or this experience, I should say, maybe especially at the end, coming up in a couple of weeks, at the end of October, maybe not even a couple of weeks. At the time that I'm filming this, I think that's next week. We're going into Mercury retrograde. And so if you're booking the blueprint in the next week or so, I'll be talking about how Mercury retrograde can affect your financial story, what to do, what not to do, and what to focus on. All right. And so if you're interested, the first step would be to sign up for a 15-minute free clarity call where we decide whether the blueprint is even right for you, and if it is, how to get started. So if you're interested, the link to that clarity call is in the description box below. And as always in Cosmic Collective, we track major transits every month. So you always know how to take action and when to hold back. All right. So if you're interested in joining Cosmic Collective, where you will get access to exclusive content, more access to me, where you can ask questions, plus an amazing community where everyone is learning together, hit the link in the description box below. It's $11 a month, but you get a free 2-week trial, so you can figure out if you like it or not, but I'm pretty sure you will. All right. So again, link for both of those are in the description box below. All right, my love. So that's pretty much all I've got for you on this video concerning red flags you should watch out for when making financial decisions. All right. So to recap, astrology isn't just about when to act. It's about recognizing when not to. The stars aren't blocking you. They're actually protecting you from misaligned moves. And when you think about it that way, you understand slow periods. You understand setbacks. You even understand closed doors a lot better. Remember, everything about astrology is alignment. However, certain times, especially when the universe says, no, stop, don't, it's more about protecting you from misaligned moves. All right, so don't forget to take the Abundance Archetype quiz. Link is in the description box below to learn how your personal money style handles these cosmic red flags. All right, as always, join us over in Cosmic Collective for this week's live Q&A on strategy and timing. All right, and also don't forget to enter the giveaway. Every comment, share, and quiz sign up counts as an entry. So winners will be announced live during my weekly live stream when we hit our next subscriber milestone. So subscribe, comment your biggest money red flag moment, and keep the momentum going. All right, so join me tomorrow where we'll explore the planetary hours and when to do certain money rituals. All right, you definitely don't want to miss that one. All right, my loves, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.